will see the significance of the name Hrishikesha. The name Hrishikesha has been used 7 times in Bhagavad Gita. Sanjaya uses it 5 times and Arjuna uses it twice. Now, if Hrishikesha is so important, first of all we should understand what is the exact meaning of the word. It means Hrishika, Isha. Hrishika means our indriyas or the sense organs. Isha means the Lord or controller. Hrishikesha means controller of senses. Now, controller of senses, whose senses? Does Lord Krishna have control of his own senses? Of course he does. He is the Lord. He also controls the senses of everything in the universe. So Lord Krishna is going to control even the consequence of this war. And that is the reason why Sanjaya uses the word Hrishikesha. Now, which is the sloka in which the particular word is used? To start with, it's used in the 15th sloka of the very first chapter. The sloka runs as Panchajanyam Hrishikesho Devadattam Dhananjayaha Poundram Dadmau Mahashankham Bhima Karma Vrikodaraha. This sloka explains who blew which conch. Now here, Panchajanya was blown by Hrishikesha, which means that Hrishikesha, Lord Krishna, blew the Chanka. The name of the Shanka was Panchajanya. So also, Arjuna's Shanka was called as Devadattam. Devadattam means it was granted to Arjuna by the Devas. Dhananjaya is another name for Arjuna. Now let's just elaborate these 2 verses to understand the context and the significance of this. Why is Krishna's Shanka called as Panchajanya? It would be interesting for us to know. This is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, Balarama and Krishna go and learn from a guru who is called as Sandipani. Now, the Sandipani Maharishi teaches them all what they have to learn, and these children, being so divine, learn everything in just 64 days. So, all the 64 art forms are learned by them in just 64 days. And it is a traditional practice to offer whatever they want after the Gurukulam is over. Now, Balarama and Krishna ask their guru as to what they can do in return to all what they have learnt. It is called as Guru Dakshina. Now, the guru says, my son was taken away by the ocean. Now, if you can give him back to me, that would be your Guru Dakshina. Now, Balarama and Krishna at once decide that they want to give the Guru the appropriate Guru Dakshina and go to the ocean. They check with the ocean, where is the little kid? Now, the ocean god replies saying that, I don't have it. There is a Rakshasa here. His name is Panchajana. He possibly has the child. Now, Balarama and Krishna kill the Asura and look in his body, but the child is not found. Instead, they find a Chanka inside his body. This Chanka is actually Panchajanya because it was inside Panchajana. Now, this Panchajanya is taken. Now, because the child was not even inside this Rakshasa, they understood that the child would have gone to the Yamaloka. Now, Balarama and Sri Krishna go all the way to Yamaloka, and using the Panchajanya, they blow it loud. Now, the vibration of this, it reverberates the entire Yamaloka. Yamaloka is where Yamadharma Raja is. Now, Yamadharma Raja actually understands that Lord himself has come here and he is blowing the Panchajanyam. He at once comes, prostrates to God Krishna, offers his salutations and says that, oh Lord of the universe, I am so happy that you have come to my Loka. Tell me what I have to do for you. I will at once do whatever you order. Now, Lord Krishna says, I know the lifespan of this little child is over, but on my command, give him back to me. So Yama at once obeys the orders of Lord Krishna and gives back the child who was actually dead. So Lord retrieves the child alive and gives him back to his guru. Now, this is the story behind the Panchajanya. Sanjaya tries to tell a lot of things in a very subtle manner to Dhritarashtra, so Dhritarashtra can understand that such a great Panchajanya is now blown by Hrishikesha himself. Now this Panchajanya and Hrishikesha combination could bring back to life what was deemed dead. You know, the son who was deemed dead was brought back to life. So don't you know what's going to happen in this war? What's the consequence of this war? So this is basically like revealing the climax of the story much before the story starts. So in the very first chapter, by addressing Lord Krishna as Hrishikesha, along with the term Panchajanya, Sanjaya gives off all the subtle messages to Dhritarashtra. Panchajanyam is supposed to be really bright. It is like Shashi Koti Shubram, which means it is as bright as crores of moons which we see simultaneously in the sky. Imagine the brightness. So Shashi Koti Shubram is the brightness of Panchajanyam. And it reverberates all the three worlds when it's blown. Now this Panchajanyam is blown by Hrishikesha. The breath of the god is supposed to be Vedas itself. Now Krishna breathes his air inside Panchajanyam to create this sound, which is nothing but the Pranavakara, and that sound is capable of giving utmost focus and creating so much of fear, instilling fear in the minds of the enemies. So the Changa has the speciality of winning the war, not by really going and attacking any enemy, but it wins the war by instilling fear in the minds of all the opponents. Now, the same situation is explained in this sloka in Bhagavad Gita, the 19th sloka. Sadhosho dhartarashtranaha hridayani vyadharayat nabascha prithivim chaiva tumulo vyamunadayan. So, all the Dhartarashtras, which mean the children of Dhritarashtra, are now filled with fear because of the sound that's vibrated by the Panchajanya across the sky. The worlds reverberate with that noise. So this is the way Panchajanyam creates the environment where the opponents are really scared. In addition to explaining Panchajanyam Hrishikesaha, Sanjaya goes an extra step to say that Devadattam Dhananjayaha. We said that the Chanka which is used by Arjuna was Devadattam, was given to Dhananjaya by the Devas. Now Devas have given a Chanka which he is blowing, that's number one, and he himself is addressed as Dhananjaya. So why did Arjuna get the name Dhananjaya? It is because when Yudhishthira performed a Rajasuya Yaga, Arjuna went to different places. He waged a war across the world to win over the kings and get all the riches that was required for this yajna. So number one, he's seen a lot of victories in his life. Number two, he won enough wealth. The wealth he won was much more than everybody else. Therefore, he was called as Dhananjaya. So by subtly using the word Devadattam Dhananjaya here, Sanjaya yet again tells Dhritarashtra, such a Dhananjaya who's been victorious all through, who has won so much of wealth for Yudhishthira earlier, he's time-tested and proved, he is now using the Devadatta as his conch, in addition to Hrishikesha using Panchajanya. Do you have any more doubts of where the victory is going to be? So Sanjaya gives this message to Dhritarashtra. The next place where the word Hrishikesha is used is in the 21st sloka, where Sanjaya again uses the word Hrishikesha. The sloka runs as Hrishikesham tada vakyam midamaha mahipate Arjuna uvacha sena yorubhayor madhye ratam sthapaya mechutam. Here he says, such a Hrishikesha, who is the controller of everything, controller of all the senses, he was dictated by Arjuna, he was commanded by Arjuna, asking him to go keep the Ratha in between the two armies. Now Sanjaya is overwhelmed by this. He says that Hrishikesha controls everything in the universe, and here Arjuna is basically asking Hrishikesha to go and stop the chariot in between the two armies. Now Krishna also obeyed Arjuna's orders. Krishna is the Lord of the universe. He obeys what Arjuna said. Isn't this something for us to really think about? Now, why did Krishna do what Arjuna wanted him to do. He could have told Arjuna, come on, don't do this. This has a lot of consequences. Listen to what I say. And Arjuna would have obeyed what Krishna said. But Krishna chose to obey whatever Arjuna said. This is because of such a quality of the Lord, where he is Bhakta Paradina. If we have so much of devotion, the Lord will do anything which we ask him to do. Here, he even goes and obeys Arjuna's orders to the extent of driving his chariot and parking it in between the two armies. Now, not just that, if you go to Chennai, Parthasarathi temple, the Lord is still proud of calling himself a charioteer of Arjuna. He is the driver in this context. No? The Lord of the universe calling himself, hey, I am a proud driver. That is exactly what Krishna has done in this context, where Krishna says that I am a Sarathi of Arjuna. So he calls himself Parthasarathi. If you go to this temple, this is the only temple where you can see Lord Krishna having a mush. He's sporting a mush here. And it will be more interesting to see that because it was a war zone and Krishna had taken a pratignya that he will not use any ayudas during the war, you will see Krishna without a chakra, but having a conch. Because he blew the conch, he blew the chanka, he has the shanka here, but he will not sport the Sudarshana chakra. So it's an amazing thing for us to see here. And by seeing this, what we understand is a divine quality of Lord Krishna, which is Bhakta Vatsala. He will do anything for his devotees. Now, from all this and this sloka and the word Hrishikesha, what do we understand? We understand, number one, if we develop our devotion so much to the extent what Arjuna had, Krishna will give himself to us. He will do anything for us. And not just doing anything, he will make sure that we succeed and see it till the end. Number two, he was protecting Arjuna against all his enemies. So Krishna will protect us from known and unknown enemies when we start understanding the qualities of Hrishikesha. Number three is about controlling our sense organs. Krishna being Hrishikesha, he is the controller of all the sense organs. So he will help us control our sense organs. Now imagine a situation, there is a sugar patient. Now this person is not supposed to have anything with high sugar content, but has an obsession towards sweet. Now what does this person do? He's so tempted to have a sweet, so ends up having it, but ends up facing the consequences as well. Now Hrishikesha will make sure that you don't submit to these sense organs. So he will help you succeed having the kind of vairagya where you get rid of these temptations of sweet and other things. So also the addicts, there are some people who are drug addicts, who are addicted to so many other things. So all these are because we are not able to control our sense organs. So we have to have complete control of our senses. And who is going to help us do that? Of course, Hrishikesha. So we'll have to keep remembering Hrishikesha all the time, and he will help us have all our senses under our control. Now think of little children, they have some examination, they have to study. But today there is so much of distractions. During our days, there were only some black and white TVs, the distraction level was much lesser. Today you think they have not just TVs, they have the internet, they have games. Everything is there in the tip of their fingers to just browse, and so much of distraction everywhere. In spite of this, competition is so high that they have to focus, they have to reach greater heights to prove themselves. So in such a situation, who is going to help them get away from all the unnecessary distractions and get the right focus? Of course, it is Hrishikesha who is going to help us focus on what is required. So pray to Hrishikesha, he is going to help us. More importantly, the enemies. Now Krishna helped Arjuna to fight against all the enemies. So if we want to fight against known and unknown enemies, both outside and within us in terms of unwanted things, who is going to help us? It is of course Hrishikesha, Krishna, who is going to help us. So let's recite Krishna's names and be blessed.
Madhava Achyuta Krishna Hare ऋषिकेश केशव गोविन्द वासुदेव भगवन् जनार्दन